Ended. I'll ask members to take their seats, and guests, if you'll find your assigned seat, please. We'll give you a moment to get to your seat. For those joining us for the first time, welcome. We kindly ask if you have your mobile device, cell phone, iPad, anything that can make noise. Now is the time to kindly silence those devices. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate that very, very much. Sergeant of Arms.
Madam President, members of the House of Representatives are ready to enter the chamber.
Please admit kindly the members of the House of Representatives. Good afternoon. Welcome to our House colleagues. We are joined now by Speaker Schwarzkopf, Majority Leader Longhurst, Majority Whip Minor Brown, our Minority Leader Ramon, Minority Whip Urick. Welcome. Mr. Speaker. It is. Good afternoon to our House members. You'll find a seat. For the new members, we'll have our colleagues divide. They just have fun for a while. We'll let them. It's like herding cats. I know.
What's up, Shannon? Kevin.
All right, we're almost there. They said it's on. Okay, thank you all. Please find a seat. Thank you. Please find a seat.
Right here, baby.
I don't see them yet. They're not in. Good afternoon, everyone. I feel the energy and enthusiasm. We want to welcome you. At this time, Sergeant of Arms, bring in our first guest, please. And you all can stand, or sit for a moment, stand, whatever you prefer. We'll stand in a second. Sergeant of Arms.
Madam President, First Lady Tracy Quillen Carney and the Secretary of State, the Honorable Jeffrey Bullock, are ready to enter the chamber for the joint session.
Please join me in welcoming our First Lady, Tracy Quillen Carney, and Secretary Bullock. Welcome our First Lady, as always. It's great to have you with us in the chamber. Sergeant of Arms.
Madam President, Members of the state judiciary are ready to enter the chamber for the joint session.
Please join me as we welcome our members of the judiciary. Thank you. Thank you, distinguished honorable judiciary, for joining us today. Mr. Sergeant of Arms.
Madam President, the statewide elected officials, along with the presidents and representatives of the University of Delaware, the Delaware State University, Delaware Technical Community College, they are ready to enter to the chamber for the joint session.
Mr. Sergeant of Arms, please open the doors. Members, let's welcome and greet our statewide electeds and our leaders of our fine higher education institutions. Welcome. Welcome to Attorney General Jennings, Treasurer Colleen Davis, Auditor Lydia York, our Insurance Commissioner Trinidad Navarro, President Asanas, University of Delaware, Dr. Tony Allen, Delaware State University, and Mr. Mark Brainerd of Delaware Technical Community College. Welcome to all. Wait for them to be seated. Welcome all. Sergeant of Arms.
Madam President, the governor's cabinet officials are ready to enter the chamber for the joint session.
Please bring them in, our cabinet members. Sir, let's all give them a warm round of appreciation and welcome. I want to welcome again our executive branch colleagues and cabinet members to the chamber. We really appreciate everyone's attention. At this time, I'm going to be turning, once our leaders have greeted everyone, to Senator Townsend. After we've greeted the executive officials, sir, I think we're going to be standing here for a moment and waiting for us to bring in our featured guest. I think this is the quietest this chamber's been. Senator Townsend.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate and House meet in joint session for the purpose of hearing an address by the Honorable John C. Carney, Governor of the State of Delaware.
So no objection. Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Madam President. I move you, as President of the Senate, preside over the joint session.
So agreed. Senator Townsend.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Secretary of the Senate and the Chief Clerk of the House act as secretaries to the joint session.
So moved. Senator Townsend.
Thank you, Madam President. I move you appoint a committee of 4 to escort the Governor of the State of Delaware to the joint session.
Hearing no objection, we'll hereby appoint Senator Huxtable. Have you go, sir. Also, we're going to pick Senator Richardson, and then also Representative Romer. Where is she? Where is she? In the back. There you are. And then Representative Hilbosky. If you will go get our governor. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in a quiet kind of standing recess. You can sit, though. Please be seated. Once Huxley. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and guests. Sergeant of Arms, sir.
Madam President, the escort party with the Honorable John C. Carney, Governor of the great state of Delaware, has arrived and is ready to enter the chamber.
Please admit our escort party along with the Honorable Governor John C. Carney. Let's all rise, please.
Hey, you did a hell of a job. I thought you were going to turn him the other way.
Wow. That's a lot of applause. Okay. Senator Huxtable. Thank you. Whew. I will. Wow. That was some applause, Governor. Senator Huxtable.
Madam President, on behalf of the Escort Committee, it is my pleasure to present the Honorable John C. Carney, Governor of the State of Delaware, to this joint session of the 152nd General Assembly.
Good afternoon, Governor. Please join us here on the rostrum. Thank you. There you go.
Well, thank you very much.
Can be seated.
Senator Huxtable, thank you. It's always good to start with my name correctly. I mentioned it to him beforehand just to try to make sure that we had it right, and he did a great job. Thank you to the committee there to come and get me. Lieutenant Governor Hall, Mr. President Pro Tem, Mr. Speaker, members of the 152nd General Assembly, other elected officials, local and statewide, members of my cabinet, distinguished members of the judiciary, invited guests, and my fellow Delawareans. Madam President, Mr. President Pro Tem, Mr. Speaker, thank you for inviting me into the chamber today. Before I get started, I'd like to do something I think really important, which is to recognize General Mike Berry and the Army and Air National Guard. These men and women have done an incredible job for us over the last 3 years. This time last year, as you may remember, we had a few hundred Guard members deployed to hospitals and long-term care facilities across the state. I don't know what we would have done without them. And just last week, we had another deployment ceremony overseas for more than 150 Army National Guardsmen men and women from the 160th Engineer Company. They're assisting with a federal military mission there in Southwest Asia. Never before has our National Guard been called on to do as much for our state and our country at the same time than these men and women have over the last several years. Please join me in recognizing and thank our Delaware Army and National Guard. General Berry, I can't tell you how proud we are of your men and women. They're almost boys and girls, literally. They're 18, 19, 20, very young, and just doing incredible work. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize 2 Supreme Court justices who are with us this afternoon who deserve special recognition. Justice Jim Vaughn, who retired this May after 9 years on Delaware's highest court. He has served since 1998 on the Delaware Superior Court and our Supreme Court. Justice Vaughn, thank you for your service to our state. And Justice Tamika Montgomery Reeves, who I was proud to nominate to our Supreme Court in 2019. Last month, as most of you know, Justice Montgomery Reeves was confirmed by the United States Senate to serve on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. As Senator Carper said before his vote, Delaware's loss is our country's gain. Please join me in recognizing Justice Montgomery Reeves. After 3 long years, it's great to be here in person with a full room, a full house once again. And before I start, I'd like to take another moment of personal privilege, if I may, to recognize my wife, Tracy, for all her hard work and the work she's been doing on behalf of Delaware's children over the past 6 years. And to thank her and maybe more importantly, to thank her for all the support she has given me over my 20 years as an elected official. I know it hasn't been easy, Tracy, but thank you for being with me along the way. Somewhere here, I have 2 of my sisters, Liz and Claire's husband, Rob. They're in the back. They're representing the Carney clan today. My mother, I know, many of you wanted to see my mother. She's not able to be with us. She's doing well. Thank you for your prayers. But representing her and the rest of the clan, we have my sister Liz and Claire and Rob. Thanks for being here as well. First and foremost, I want to thank every member of the General Assembly for stepping up and agreeing to serve. In 2019, I stood in this chamber and said that never before has the General Assembly better reflected the people of our great state. Well, that's even more true today. And I'd like to offer a warm welcome to the newcomers, Ross Huxtable, Kira Hoffner, and Eric Buxton in the Senate, and to Deshauna Neal, Sophie Phillips, Cindy Romer, Stell Parker Selby, Carrie Evelyn Harris, and Jeff Hilofsky in the House. That's a big group, and all Delawareans will benefit from your new ideas and your fresh perspectives. Welcome to Legislative Hall. We look forward to working with each of you. It's a special privilege to represent the people of our state, and I know that you all agree. It's something that I've learned, here's something I've learned in my 20 years in public office, and it's been made even clearer over the past 2.5 years. The people of Delaware want us to work together. They want us to focus on the work, not political infighting or distractions. They want us to put their taxpayer dollars to use in a responsible way. I know you've all knocked on doors and attended events in your district, and I'm sure you've heard the same thing. Delawareans want us to focus on the issues that matter in their everyday lives: access to good jobs, excellent public schools, a safe and affordable place to live, and vibrant communities where they can raise their children. We have a long tradition in Delaware of setting politics aside and working together on the people we serve. It's a tradition we should all embrace. Standing here today, I've never been more confident about where we're headed as a state. Working together over the past 6 years, we've taken steps to lay a strong foundation for the future, to strengthen our economy and add good-paying jobs, to make real investments in our public schools, to protect our natural environment, to responsibly manage taxpayer dollars, and to make sure Delaware remains a great place to live and raise a family. Let's build on that work together. Every year, I come before this body, not a full house the last couple of years, to present my priorities for the year ahead. And I know you've heard me say this before because I've said it every year. I believe that our success as a state must start with building a strong and growing economy. We know that a good job solves a lot of problems, and that's not just political rhetoric. Let's consider the story of the city of Seaford. Years ago, Seaford had a strong local economy driven by industrial manufacturing. It was known as the nylon capital of the world. DuPont manufacturing jobs put food on the table for thousands of families. As Representative Short and Senator Richardson know, these were good jobs that helped families afford a home and raise a family. They funded college tuitions and promised a secure retirement. The plan also brought engineers and skilled tradesmen and women and other highly trained workers to western Sussex County. It attracted nurses and doctors to the hospital and good teachers to the public schools. By the mid-1980s, though, things started to decline. The workforce of 4,500 began to dwindle. And during my first term as lieutenant governor in the early 2000s, there were fewer than 700 jobs at the site. In a town of roughly 8,000, that's a heavy blow. The loss of economic opportunity that had ripple effects through Sussex County. Fewer good-paying jobs led to a lack of investment in the community and a dormant economy. And for many years now, many of us have looked for ways to turn things around. Mayor David Genshaw and his team have put a hyper-focus on bringing good new jobs to Seaford. That includes attracting investment to the new Western Sussex Business Campus and the Seaford Industrial Park. Together, we've also made a real investments in Seaford's downtown development district, something that was improved under Governor Markell's tenure. And just last month, alongside Representative Short, Mayor Genshaw, and Senator Richardson, we announced a major redevelopment project at the blighted Nylon Capital Shopping Center there. The project has been a long time coming, and it will build on the hard work of town officials in recent years. And I want to thank Mayor Genshaw, who I understand is here somewhere in the back corner, for his cooperation and work. The point is, good jobs matter for families, for communities, and for everything else that we do as a state, from education to healthcare. 6 years ago, my first full day in office, I signed an executive order to change the way we attract new jobs and business investment to Delaware, and to support the businesses that are already here. Within the Department of State, we created a division of small business to put a hyper-focus on smaller, homegrown companies and entrepreneurs. Companies like HX Innovations. HX is a movement analytics company that I recently visited at the Chase Fieldhouse in Wilmington. It's run by Nicole and Vaughn Homer. Vaughn is also an assistant professor at Delaware State University. They use software to analyze muscle and joint activity. Their cutting-edge technology allows sports teams to monitor athletes, reduce injuries, and improve performance. Vaughn and Nicole are with us today in the gallery. Where are you, Vaughn and Nicole? Please stand up and be recognized. Mayor Perzicki, I don't know how good we could have been if we had that kind of technology to chart our training. We also partnered with business leaders in our state to create the Delaware Prosperity Partnership, what we call the DPP. The results are visible in communities across the state. In Middletown, Wooshie SDA broke ground on a 190-acre, pharmaceutical manufacturing campus recently. Over the next several years, the company will invest more than $500 million at the site, creating hundreds of good-paying construction jobs along the way. And when the plant opens, they expect to hire 500 full-time jobs. It will also anchor industrial redevelopment in western Middletown, where the town has added hundreds of jobs in the past decade. And this hasn't happened by accident. My good friend Mayor Kenny Branner, the architect of much of this, is with us today. The mayor and I have worked together over many years, and I appreciate his friendship. Please help me in recognizing Mary Branner for his long service to our hometown and to our state. Another $500 million transformation is underway at the Science Park along 141. This will be a science and technology campus anchored by DuPont, Prelude Therapeutics, and Solenis. Together, we're building Delaware's future economy, and DPP, led by Kurt Foreman and his talented team, is leading the way. I'd also like to thank members of the General Assembly who serve on the board of the DPP, Senators Jack Walsh and Brian Pettyjohn, Representative Bill Bush, and Lyndon Year. Please stand up and be recognized for your service to the DPP. We do have economic challenges ahead for sure, but they're unlike anything I've seen during my time in public service. Today, the biggest challenge we have is filling the job openings that are out there. For my entire career in public service, we've been focused first on creating jobs. There have always been more people looking for work than jobs available. Today, it's just the opposite. We have thousands more job openings than we have people looking for work. Let me say that again in a different way. Employers have 37,000 job openings in the state of Delaware, and there are just 21,000 Delawareans looking for a job. I've never seen a situation like this before. Our state government sees these challenges every day. My cabinet secretaries tell me about the problems they're facing. Across executive agencies, we have 2,000 job openings, and it's harder than ever to find candidates. And this is not just a problem unique to Delaware. In fact, every state in the country is facing similar challenges. And so our ability to compete will depend on our success building and attracting a highly skilled workforce. And so our colleges and universities have never been more important in this work. Consider this. I'm told there are more people working on the University of Delaware's Star campus today than when Chrysler closed its manufacturing facility at the site in 2008. It's hard to believe, but it says a heck of a lot about where our economy is headed. More than 3,000 people now work at the Star campus every day. That includes more than 300 scientists and researchers at the Chemours Research and Discovery Hub. The university's partnership with Chemours allows students to train right along industry researchers and scientists. It also includes the staff at the National Institute for Innovation in Manufacturing Biopharmaceuticals, or NIMBL. The facility builds on our state's strength in biotechnology, and it was critical in bringing WuXi STA to Middletown. Our Lieutenant Governor serves as the state's representative on NIMBL, and I want to thank her for her work in promoting science and technology in our state. I'm trying to find our university presidents.
Over by the door to the right.
There we are, the big three. At Delaware State University, President Allen and his team recently received the largest research grant in the university's history. The $18 million grant from NIH will fund research into health disparities in minority communities. It will also attract top talent to the Dover campus, expose students to cutting-edge research and help train our next generation of public health scientists. Our goal is to keep more and more of those students graduating from UD and Delaware State here in Delaware. At Delaware Technical and Community College, President Brainerd and his team continue to work on the front lines of job training in our state. Last year, we opened the McDowell Student Success Center. It's named after our good friend and my former Senator, Harris McDowell. Providing resources for students will help keep Delaware Tech the #1 institution for job training and workforce development in Delaware. So I'd like to thank all 3 presidents, Dr. Asanas, Dr. Allen, and Dr. Brainerd, for everything you do for the state of Delaware. Thank you very much. And thanks to President Biden and our congressional delegation, who couldn't be here today. The President of the United States has been in this chamber before. I saw it myself. We've also seen a significant influx of federal dollars that will help us build on this progress. With the support of the American Rescue Plan, we're building a clinical lab at Delaware State University, an allied health center at Delaware Tech in Wilmington, and a state-of-the-art laboratory on the site of the McKinley Lab at the University of Delaware. And over the course of the next year, ARPA funding will help rehabilitate blighted homes and properties on the east side of Wilmington. Working with Mayor Purzycki and his team, we hope to re-energize the community around the new Bancroft School to help more families find a safe place to live and call home. Mayor Purzycki, thank you for your partnership there. The Wilmington delegation says go to it. We'll make similar investments in Dover, Milford, and communities across our state. And our housing director, Eugene Young, is leading the effort for our state. Eugene, stand up, sir. Stand up. My budget next week will build on these investments, these federal funds in affordable housing and community development. And I look forward to working with Senator Lockman and Senator Townsend and others in this room to make other housing issues a priority in this legislative session. We look forward to working with you. Ultimately, if we want to expand economic opportunity and build a competitive workforce, we need to start in our schools. We all know this. And we all know that a quality education starts with a committed, experienced teacher. Right now, the competition for the best teachers in the region is more intense than ever. So we need to pay our teachers more to win the competition with surrounding states. And so I know you've heard this already, but when I introduce my budget next week, we will propose a significant increase in pay for our teachers. This will be a down payment on the work of the Public Education Compensation Committee. The committee is now studying the issue of educator pay and will present their recommendations in November, but we need to act before that. I'd like to thank the legislators serving on that committee, Senator Sturgeon and Pettyjohn, and Representative Williams and Smith. Thank you for your work on that committee. I'd also want to recognize and thank our Education Secretary, Dr. Mark Holodick, who's ably chairing the committee. I want all of you to know we're committed to working with you on the issue of teacher pay. We can get it done if we work together. All Delaware children will benefit if we can attract the best teachers to our state and keep them working here, and that's as important. My goals for Delaware students have been consistent from the start of our administration. All children should be able to read at grade level by 3rd grade, be proficient in math by middle school, and graduate high school ready for college or for a career. If we meet those targets, our students will be better off in the long run, and our state will be stronger. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Too many students are behind. That's especially true among our most vulnerable students. And that's just not acceptable for any of us. We need everyone to lean into this issue. We can all agree on this. All our children deserve a high-quality education. And so my budget proposal next week will also include more than $50 million for opportunity funding. That's on top of the more than $100 million in investments we've already made. As most people know, opportunity funding provides direct support for low-income children and English learners. And I've visited schools across our state, in all 3 counties, and watched this investment in action. And I'd encourage you to do the same, and I know that you do. Visit schools in your district. These investments are tailored to the needs of each school and each community. Talk to our educators and our teachers about what's working and what's not working, and let us know what we do more of and less of. My budget will also increase our investment in the Wilmington Learning Collaborative. Many of you were there with us at Wilmington Library back in November when we signed this agreement creating the WLC. This model is one we've seen work in other states. It's a voluntary network of schools in the 3 districts that serve students in the city, Brandywine, Christina, and Red Clay. Our goal is to empower teachers and school leaders and parents to improve the outcomes for our children in the city. We've been debating how to help these children for the past 30 years. In the months leading up to the votes on the WLC, we knocked on doors across the city and talked to parents in every neighborhood across the city. Everyone we talked to had a different idea about what the priorities ought to be. But everyone had the same hopes for our children to improve outcomes and help them succeed. So I'd like to recognize several people in the balcony who helped us create the WLC. Freeman Williams, where's Freeman? Freeman and the NAAC. And Karen Eller, a dedicated teacher at Bancroft who works with these students every day. Thank you, and to all our partners who worked hard for this change. We appreciate your work. My wife, Tracy, has been a partner in these education efforts with our children. She has shown a tireless dedication to early literacy and the well-building of our young children. Over the past year, Tracy has continued her efforts to help give Delaware children what they call a first chance to succeed, get them early, and do the work that has to be done. She's worked in lockstep with our Family Services Cabinet Council to address the challenges of these children. Tracy has also coordinated work around childhood hunger, and she is focused on shining a light on trauma among children in Delaware and nationally. With support from the Casey Family Programs and the American Academy of Pediatrics, Tracy helped organize a fall summit on youth mental health in Washington, D.C. I was wondering where she was that weekend. Young people from around the country had a chance to speak directly with federal leaders. And of course, in one of the great highlights of the last year, Tracy and I welcomed Dolly Parton to the Wilmington Library in May. I know many of you were there, especially Secretary Nicole Majeski, who's a big Dolly Parton fan. If there was any doubt, all Delawareans love Dolly. More important, more than 26,000 Delaware children are currently enrolled in the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, receiving free books each month from birth to age 5. That's an incredible number, an incredible program, and we want to push that number even higher. Please join me in thanking Tracy and all her partners for their hard work. Supporting our youngest learners and their families has to be a top priority for all of us. That's why my budget next week will increase state investments in early childhood education. We will propose an increase in the purchase of care, which helps low-income families access quality child care. We will also double funding for the Early Childhood Assistance Program, or ECAP. These programs serve many of the most vulnerable 3- and 4-year-olds in our state. And with the help of an $8 million federal grant, we will develop a plan to strengthen the future of child care and early education in Delaware. I know that this is a priority for our Lieutenant Governor, for Senator Gay, and many others in this chamber, and we look forward to working with all of you. This is a real opportunity for us to do the hard work to expand and improve child care and early education for Delaware families, and we have a lot of work to do. Of course, part of my job as governor is to promote this great state that we all call home. Delaware is a special place. We're the first state. We're the home of the President of the United States of America. And so this year on Delaware Day, I visited the Nanticoke Indian Museum in Millsboro. I spoke with Chief Carmine, who is here with us today in the balcony, and the museum's coordinator, Sterling Street. The tribe has called the region home for over 10,000 years. The museum houses artifacts from pre-colonial times and pieces made by modern-day artisans. If you haven't been to the museum, you need to go. Then we went to visit the Staten Farm in Lincoln. The farm has been with the Staten family for nearly 300 years. Greer Staten is the current owner. He's the 12th generation to operate the farm and is here with us in the chamber today in the balcony somewhere where I can't see. There he is. Greer, stand up. Thank you to you and your family. The Staten family roots go deep. They acquired the land through a land grant issued by William Penn in 1728. The farm has been preserved through the Ag Lands Preservation Program, and together with neighboring farms is part of a parcel of 1,000 acres that have been preserved. The Staten Farm is a great example of what we're trying to achieve with state investments in ag land preservation. Thank you, Senator Skuse, for all your hard work there. We have a proud environmental heritage in Delaware, and protecting that heritage is a priority, I know, for many of us. In the oath of office we all take as elected officials, we pledge to, and I quote, respect the right of future generations to share the rich, historic, and natural heritage of Delaware. But that natural heritage is under threat. We're the lowest lying state in the nation, and the effects of climate change and sea level rise on Delaware communities are real. We're seeing them every day, more real in certain parts of our state than others. And that's why we need to take action. With the help of federal infrastructure funding, we will accelerate our efforts to build out Delaware's electric vehicle charging infrastructure, and will restore investments in the Clean Water Trust to protect our waterways and drinking water. Representative Longhurst and Heffernan and Senator Hansen, I know this is a high priority for both of you. Let's work together to take on this existential threat. We will also continue to ask everyone to pitch in to do their part. We're determined to plant a tree for every Delawarean. That's 1 million trees, Secretary Garvin. And Secretary Skuse, that's a lot of trees. We've already planted 120,000. But as you can see, we have a long way to go to reach 1 million. And we need your help to reach that goal. So please join us and visit de.gov/TEDI, Teddy, and record your tree plantings. Help us get to that million tree goal. And by the way, we live in too beautiful a state to put up with the litter problem that we have here. You know by now, this is really important, and you know by now how I feel about it. I can't stand it, and I often stop my car to pick up litter on the side of the road. It drives my passengers crazy. And my security, too, don't like it very much. But we shouldn't have to rely on other people to pick up our trash. We should stop throwing it out the window in the first place. And that's really our fundamental, simple message. So please join us in the effort to keep DE litter-free. That's our slogan. Protecting our state also means making sure Delaware families feel safe in their homes and communities. And we're working with the mayor in Wilmington and Dover to expand our group violence intervention program to reduce gun violence in these communities. There's no more important issue. Our collective efforts have shown some good results recently. Statewide shootings are down nearly 30% since last year. There's a lot more work to be done for sure. Gun violence anywhere is unacceptable, and we need everyone to make this a priority with us. And I want to thank our Attorney General and all our law enforcement officers for their partnership and hard work. It doesn't happen without your partnership and the judiciary as well. Where's our Attorney General over there? Thank you. We can't make any of these investments in education, in our economy, in environmental protection, and public safety if we don't have our fiscal house in order. Over the past 6 years, we've charted a responsible course together, working with all of you and the JFC. We've protected taxpayer dollars and directed investments where they can have the greatest impact. I've talked to a lot of taxpayers over the years, and I know that you have as well. And that's what they expect of us. When I took office 6 years ago, we were facing an almost $400 million deficit. Now we have $400 million more in reserves for when the economy turns down again, which we know it will at some point. Despite a global pandemic that ravaged our economy, we've turned a significant deficit into a surplus. And we've directed one-time revenue into one-time projects that built the largest infrastructure program in Delaware history 2 years in a row. We're repairing our roads and bridges and building new schools and communities across our state. And when we present our budget next week, we'll stay the course and stay true to those principles. And I look forward to your support on all those budgets. We've been through a lot together over the past 6 years. It certainly feels like many more years than that to me, especially these past 3 years. Feels like 10. And it hasn't always been easy for sure. But as I stand here today, I can confidently say that because of the work we've done together, the state of our state is strong. And I believe the state will only get stronger in the years ahead. If we continue working together, as we do in Delaware better than anyone else, we'll build a future worthy of the next generation. Finally, I want to thank the people of Delaware for the privilege to serve as your governor. It's been a challenging 6 years, but we're on a roll again. May God bless you, and may God bless this wonderful state. Thank you very much.